back, Travel Warriors. This is Steve.
And I'm George. Join us as we unpack the challenges, excitement, preparation, and passion for travel. Hey, Steve, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I've been a little bit sunburnt. I've been on the touring bus all day with Matthew, and we've just been cramming as much sightseeing as we could today.
So you are in Mexico City. We talked about it at the end of our last episode.
Right?
You are in Mexico City for the UFC. Can you tell me, when did you start planning this trip?
We started planning in November when the UFC announced it, and of course, I had been here in 2019 in March. That was the last month that Southwest Airlines was flying to Mexico City. So that was a great trip. And I told Matthew, wow, if the UFC announces a UFC card in Mexico City, we're going to attend. And so we'll get the best of both worlds. We'll get to pursue our passion, pursue the UFC, and then also get Matthew to check out the city, the sights, the awesome food, and all these types of things.
Oh, that sounds great. So your travel day was on Thursday. Can you kind of walk us through how that day unfolded for both of you?
Well, you know what? Before I do that, George, let me just tell you, Wednesday afternoon, probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock, I see a feed on Instagram from ESPN, and it showed the fighters, the UFC fighters, already at the fighter hotel. And I didn't know what hotel this was. I had booked the hotel a while back, but I thought, well, it was like I was thinking. I know they stayed in at the JW Marriott in 2019 to also 2015, but it was just kind of luck of the draw. And I said, well, there's only a handful of large hotels in the Polanco area where we're staying. Luckily, I booked the Intercontinental Presidente, and you just won't believe what happened. I basically took a snapshot with my phone of the fighters talking with each other in a meeting room. You can tell it's a meeting room, and then I immediately did my investigator hat on, and I started looking at all the hotels in the Polanco and trying to get a snippet, a picture of their meeting rooms, because in that picture that I took of the fighters, I was able to zero in on the carpet pattern, okay, and it was very distinct.
Mm-hmm.
So I eliminated one after the other. Of course, the JW was eliminated first, but they've had a renovation. And then, I looked at the Ritz and the Four Seasons, etc. The Hyatt. Lo and behold, I said, let me just check the Intercontinental. Opened up a tab for meeting rooms. I see the same pattern that matched the pattern in the Instagram feed from ESPN. And I realized that's where we're staying and that's where we're going. And that's where the UFC fighter's at, which basically, this is a big deal because we've done this before in Anaheim and in Phoenix. When you stay at the fighter hotel, you have so much more access to the fighters, to the activities that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see them and the fight teams, and they're at the bar, they're in the elevator, they're at the breakfast, etc. And generally, when you come up to them and ask them for a picture, they're very, very gracious, and they love their fans. So we were just so excited knowing that we were on our way over here. So Thursday, we basically, well, Matthew has never been to the Centurion Lounge, and unfortunately now with American Express, you have to spend $75,000 to have guests enter free. So, that's one of the things that we can talk about car and how we, gamify the points and access to lounges, etc. But basically, we're able to get Matthew in and have him experience that. And it was nice. It's a nice way to kick off a trip. You go in the lounge, you get a nice breakfast. You might get a mimosa, a glass of prosecco, whatever. Get it going. And then, we got our flight. It was nonstop, American Airlines. We land on time. Passport control is real easy. We get through. And then Uber gets us here in about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. The only thing I notice is there's a lot more cars, there's a lot more traffic now. So we check in, and we are already seeing the fight teams, people that we recognize from the UFC podcast, etc. So it was just great.
So Steve, one of the things I always like to ask when people are traveling somewhere, right, is okay, your destination is Mexico City. Is it a nonstop flight? Do you have a connection? If you do have a connection, what airport are you connecting through? So was your flight from Phoenix to Mexico City a nonstop, or do you
It
have
was
to
a
stop?
yeah,
Okay.
nonstop. It's 3 hours, and American does a good job, on the flights that I've been on with them. So no problems at all. Left on time, landed on time, and it was quick. It was quick, and like you said in that first video, that in 2 hours you can be on a plane and actually land in another world, and
Mhm.
that's what it seems like when you're here compared to being home.
So going back to the Centurion Lounge, will you tell our audience what the Centurion Lounge is?
Well, there are a collection of lounges that American Express has. Um, in some international locations, they have one at the Mexico airport, the Benito airport. I haven't been to it. When I was here in 2019, they weren't open, but supposedly, hopefully, it'll be open, and we'll check it out tomorrow. But basically, you take a lounge, and yeah, let me just tell you why the lounge, the Centurion Lounge, is very special to me. In 2014, my mom passed away in Central America, and I didn't get noticed till midnight, and I didn't sleep that night, and I had to go in for a biopsy that morning at 5 in the morning, and so I didn't sleep the rest of the morning. Had to catch a flight in the afternoon, connected through Dallas, and I was so exhausted. Uh, you can't imagine. Emotionally stressed out, physically stressed out. I had just done a biopsy at the hospital. Um, and so we're at DFW, and we get to go to this lounge, and in the back it had some chase lounges where you could actually. I had a splitting headache, and I just remember I was able to lay down and just be quiet. And so that 20-30 minutes where I could just close my eyes and just kind of regroup, it was like a lifesaver, for me, just because I was so stressed. Got some food, got some refreshments. So that there's an emotional connection to it, because it helped. It helped a lot.
Well, I know you and you invited me to the one in, I think, Las Vegas a couple years ago, and it was a great experience. So I know we'll go into airport lounges in future episodes, but that's a great way, like you said, to always kick off a trip, is to be in one of those lounges, or even coming back home. Um, so you get in Thursday, check into the hotel. Did you guys do anything Thursday night?
We did. We wanted to, and there's a YouTuber from Mexico City that we can reference, but I looked at a couple of his YouTube videos, and he went through the top 15 rooftop bars, and so I decided to hit one of them. It was at the Ritz Carlton Hotel, which is relatively new. It's only a couple years old, I believe, and it was called Ling Link, and it's kind of a Asian fusion sushi type of bar with a restaurant, but there's sort of a terrace with amazing views, and we ordered some drinks and took some video and some pictures, and we just kind of hung out. We were a little bit tired, but we got that in on Thursday when we arrived, and then we kind of came back to the hotel, and kind of it's been late nights. We've kind of burned the candle on both ends. We've been here because of all the activity in the hotel with the UFC.
So once you rested up, What was your Friday like?
Well, Friday was pretty nice. Friday, Matthew actually wanted to do, he's a skateboarder, has his own company in San Diego, based out of San Diego. And he said, you know, Dad, I'm going to go to a couple skate parks and see how they look, how they feel. He went out there, and lo and behold, you know, this is kind of a tribal kind of thing, the skateboarding. And he met up, befriended a couple guys, and I called him in the afternoon and basically said, hey, Matt, what's going on? You know, are you good? And he told me he was already on a subway going to another skate park. I mean, I'm like, what? You know, but, you know, it's one of his passions, and I was happy. He was happy. And so we did that on Friday. And we also, we kind of met back and went to another rooftop bar.
Sounds fun. So let's talk about Saturday, right? So you're a big UFC fan. Here you are with your son. Uh, Kind of walk us through the whole day on Saturday. I know you sent me some pictures. You took some photos of some folks from the UFC. Can you kind of walk our audience through that whole day?
Yeah, so Saturday we got up and had some breakfast, got some Starbucks nearby, and you know, Matthew did some more skating, and also we also when he got back, we went and walked in the little Polanco neighborhood, and just kind of looked at the shops and you know all the little eateries and little bistros, and you know it's very green. There's lots of trees and all that, and so that was kind of nice. Then we got back to the hotel in the afternoon, and then we had to get ready. And again, preparation and challenges. You and I talk about that. You know, one of the things that we did is we had plenty of time to get ready and go to the event. But what we
Mhm.
didn't prepare for and we didn't expect was the challenge of getting home after the event. I mean, it was a sold out event, 20,000 UFC fans. We get out of the arena, and then we're thinking, well, we'll just pick up an Uber and head back. That was not the case. Let me just tell you that the police had closed off streets that were immediately to the entrance of the arena. And so there was no way Ubers were going to be able to get to us. Literally hundreds of people were walking down the sidewalk. There was traffic jams. There was these big trucks in the way. We had to go walk around and through cars. And we had to walk another 2 or 3 miles just to try to see where we're at with the Uber. We tried to connect with Uber. We couldn't pick one up. A couple of them looked like they were going to pick us up, but the area was so congested that they just, they dipped out of there, and so we had to walk another mile or two. Luckily, we were able to connect with the driver. And even then, we could see that he was heading north, and we were on the southern part of the street on the opposite side. So I kind of looked at, where could he pick us up where, he's not going to miss us and it'll be convenient. So we saw a little like a convenience store called Oxo,
Mhm.
OXXO, and we called him. I said, hey, listen, we can see you coming north across the street. You can pick us up there. And it was just a relief. It was a relief because we didn't get back to the hotel around 1:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
And then the bar was packed with all the UFC uh, production people, fight teams, etc. It was a long night. We probably didn't get to sleep till maybe 3:30, 4 in the morning.
Wow. Wow. So were you able to meet some folks?
Several personalities in the UFC, famous ones like Bruce Buffer, the voice of the Octagon. We met some other fighters, some that are currently, inactive and also currently active. And so we were able to take pictures with them, and it's just a great vibe. And of course, they're so gracious with their fans, and they love taking pictures with their fans. So that was kind of nice. And that was another late night. So it's been when you go on a trip 4 days, 4 nights, 5 days, and you're you're going all morning, and then you're doing all these activities and trying to sightsee and all that. We did cram the red. I call it the like the big red bus in some cities. Double decker, and it goes through all the different neighborhoods where you can on and off. The on and off bus. We did that today, and it was really nice. It was really nice.
Well, I feel like we can save some of that on our Mexico City wrap up on our next episode. So overall, you and Matthew had a great time.
It's exceeded everything that we thought was possible. The fact that we had the good fortune of actually staying with all the UFC event staff and the fighters and all this kind of thing. We just felt like, wow, this just enhanced the entire trip. If you're into NASCAR and you happen to stay, with drivers that are in the drivers that you follow, and they're in the hotel that you're at, or whatever it might be, rodeo, whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, Steve, that sounds great. I really loved hearing how your trip went. Any final thoughts?
Well, Matthew's here, and you might have a couple questions. This is his first time in Mexico City, so if you'd like, do you have any questions for him?
Yeah, if he wants to join you right there next to you, if he wants to.
Yeah, come on
I'm
over,
down. Yeah. Let me scoot this thing over a little bit and I'll jump in with my pops right here. All right. What's up?
Hey, Matthew, how are you doing?
Good, man. Doing good, George.
I remember the first time I met you. It was in, I think, in that hotel that Hampton Inn in
Irvine.
Was it Irvine, huh?
Yeah, right there by the airport.
What
by
year
John
was that?
Wayne. 2013, maybe?
Wow. That's the year I graduated.
It was a lot smaller then.
Mm-hmm.
At least by a foot.
So my first question was, how was traveling with your dad?
Oh, man. It's always great. My dad, he takes good care of me for sure. He's had a chance to travel the world, probably once and back, right?
Still trying to get to a lot.
He's been around, and he always makes it such an experience, and to every detail. Like, I mean, from just like getting from point A to point B, and then being here and taking it all in. It's been a blessing, and I'm very grateful for my pops for sure. But yeah, overall, it's been great, and it's a little bit of we're working together and trying to figure out what we want to do because there's so much out here. I mean, Mexico City. This is my first time being out here. Man, there's just countless things you can go do, go see. And for me, it was like, when I go to a new city, I want to experience the most that I can. And obviously there's a level to it. There's, the more rural, urban, and just like, it's Mexico City. You can go and just be on one street and see countless vendors and just families like mom and pop shops, and they're doing their own businesses as far as on the local level. And then you can go and be in a whole different environment and have basically everything we have back home, the corporations, and there's a Ritz-Carlton down the road. We're staying at the Intercontinental, and it's like, it's such an amazing experience. But in Mexico City, you have it all together, and it's like there's just a lot to do and see. So the weekend's been great for sure.
Well, I know your dad was looking forward to traveling with you and spending time with you in this UFC event. I know we talked about it a lot especially the last few weeks. I'm really happy for both of you to experience that together. Can't wait, Stephen, when we shoot our next episode, when you have time to reflect and get home, and we can, pick up a little bit more on your guys' day to day,
For sure.
And so, well, we can wrap this thing up. I want to say, thanks for everyone for joining us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on our latest episodes. Join us in our growing community of travel warriors And let's continue this journey together. Until next time, safe travels.